planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
No, just kidding. Hey, good morning, everyone. Marc Lainhart here at Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. How's everybody doing? This is the weekly inspirational show for the week ahead. Inspirational messages, encouragement, spiritual awesomeness, fun. Today is, you can see I'm kind of celebrating my birthday with you. It's actually tomorrow. It's on the 21st. But I don't really get a chance to do my shows. My birthday's been always like on the weekends. So I thought I'd just put up some happy birthday stuff because I've been going around this planet and going around this sun for almost 48 years now. So good morning to you, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. You've made your way to Metaphysical Mocha Mondays every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then at 8:30 it's followed up by the Healing Cafe, where I actually have direct conversations, readings, spiritual chats, Q&A, mediumship, meditation, mindfulness, metaphysics, motivations, all at 8:30, and that's called the Healing Cafe, and that starts at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll go for a little bit today in the Healing Cafe for readings, but I'm going to be doing some spiritual takeout over my other channels on Instagram and YouTube. So please make sure to get on my YouTube channel if you have not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, because I'm going to be giving out a free reading over there. I'm going to be doing a little contest, so it's going to be a little fun. I'll go ahead and put the little link to the actual, if you want to be a subscriber right now, I'll put that in the chat. Let's see here. There we go. There's the channel for YouTube. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of fun. You get to pick some bowls, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of golfing and giving out free readings for that. So you can go to my Instagram channel, which is at Marc Lainhart, or you can go to my YouTube channel. It's in the description and also comments down below. Or just go to marclainhart.com. Which is kind of your one-stop shop for anything with spiritualism, mediumship, psychic, awareness, intuition. And you can click on all the links from my podcast, to my articles, to book and reading. And this Wednesday, I'm excited because we're going to have Paul Jacobs. Some of you who follow mediumship and spirituality and spiritualism, he's going to be back on Inspired Living Radio this Wisdom Wednesday, so make sure to join me. I'll have the write-up out later this afternoon. So I'm looking forward to having Mavis Patilla come up next month, Paul Jacobs this Wednesday, and I got some really cool, well-known people coming up on the shows that I'm scheduling for May and June. So look forward to that on Inspired Living Radio, which is my podcast that we've been doing now for 5 seasons. So it's hard to believe I've been doing this for 5 years. But how's everybody doing this morning? How are you maintaining? How are you getting through all the stuff that is just going on? There's a lot of stuff going on out there, isn't there? So I hope that you're staying home. I hope that you're staying healthy. I hope that you're staying informed. And today's message is about birthdays, obviously, because I'm going to celebrate my birthday. This is the first birthday that I've actually had to celebrate in isolation. So I guess it's part of the life's lessons and learning curves. And but I'm also talking about birthdays, Earth days, and sunny days. And the reason that came up to me this morning in my meditations is because tomorrow is Earth Day. Wednesday is Earth Day. So tomorrow's my birthday, which is April 21st. And then Wednesday, April 22nd, is Earth Day. That's where we celebrate the Earth. And that's the one thing that we have in common. We're so different out there, and you can see it in today's society. But the one thing we have in common, guys, is this planet and where we all live and what we call home. So Wednesday the 22nd will be Earth Day. And then just sunny days ahead. We do have sunny days ahead, both with the spring and summer on its way, but also sunny days for what we're going through right now with this great pandemic of the 21st century, what has impacted all of our lives. It's changed our lives, and it will continue to change our lives. So a lot of people, keep talking to me about, Marc, do you see us going back to normal? And I say no, because normal wasn't working before. So we're going to go into a new paradigm shift. But before I get to talking about that, and before I give you your crystal for the week, your totem animal spirit for the week, and your number for the week, I just want to, just remind you that everything that we have, we're so divisive right now and so divided as people, especially here in the United States. But I just want to remind us that this is a time for coming together. Wendell Berry reminded us that, the earth is what we all have in common. We need to remember that. The earth is healing. Humans are healing. There's a lot of people that are passing into spirit. And of course people will, when you're on social media, people are always going to debate, there's more people that die from other things, heart attacks and stroke and the flu. And I get that. I've done a podcast where about 50,000 people a day on average around the planet travel from the physical world and pass into the spiritual world. So physically, I know the stats. It's just sad that we have this pandemic and that people are there's just so much misinformation out there. So stay home, stay healthy, stay informed, stay calm, stay kind, stay humble. This is when you go through great transformations like what we're going through, this is where you can really see who people really are and who people become. So pay attention to that, observe that as well. But what I want you to observe right now with me is a nice cup of coffee. So grab your coffee, grab your tea. I'm drinking a nice vanilla latte this morning with a little bit of vanilla hemp milk in there, which I try to make every morning. And, just a reminder as well that, as I'm talking about birthdays and Earth Day and sunny days ahead, I don't do politics in my show, and I don't do religion on my show. For those of you that follow my work, you know that I'm a very strong constitutionalist here in the United States because I raised my hand to defend the Constitution of the United States with 8 years in the U.S. Coast Guard. So I don't get into political stuff, but what I would just remind you in this day and age, with all the social media, with all the news out there and all the politics, be mindful of what you watch through television. And the reason I remind you that, because if you break the word down itself, tell-a-vision. There's a vision out there, and that's why I think people are so divided, because they're watching different visions. And then if you even go farther, tell a vision, go to a certain channel, whatever channel that is, and watch a certain program. So program, channel, everything that you're watching can be very impactful to the decisions you make moving forward. And I always remind people, as a spiritualist, as just somebody that's really in tune with my own awareness, my own intuition, is go within, find the answers that you're looking for within, and you can do that through meditation. You can do that through qigong, which qigong is just a study of your own life force energy. You can do that in group meditations. You can do that through song and dance and getting out into nature. There are great many ways to connect without having to go through the television. And it's just been interesting to me to watch as we're going through this great pandemic, as we're literally getting ready to celebrate Earth Day, that so many people have so many different opinions, conspiracy theories. I have a lot of people reach out to me, when I do my readings, worried about the future. And I always remind people, the best part about our future is that it comes one day at a time. So I'm going to remind you to move into what I call the magic of the moment. Find your place here in the now. The present moment is very, very powerful. And, just celebrate life. Our goal for Earth Day, as Earth Day's coming up, I'm a humanitarian. I'm very mindful of the planet, what we've been doing to the planet. I've been speaking about this for a long time. And, the podcast, when I gave my psychic predictions at the beginning of the year, as we're talking about birthdays, Earth Days, and sunny days, is I talked about 3 words that really came in my podcast on January 8th. And you go to marclainhart.com and download that and listen to that, when I did psychic predictions for what I saw coming in 2020. And the 3 words that have rang true in January, that ring true right now in April, is a great coming together. I don't know if anybody watched that global event with all the channels and all the artists and the music and the creativity and the ingenuity of making that all work. That was fabulous to me. I just loved how people were thinking outside the box. I love to help people think outside the box. I love to help people get out of the box that put them in the situation that put them there in the first place, to get out of that type of thinking and those words. And it was very powerful to watch people coming together. And that's one of the words that I talked about in my January 8th podcast, the great coming together. And that's going to continue. Now, there are going to be people that don't want that. There are going to be people that tear that down. That's just how life is. That dates history back. But I also talked about sustainability. We've got to continue to have sustainability. That's very, very important for the path. And also self-mastery. Self-mastery is about how we master ourselves during a time of crisis. This is something I first became familiar with when I joined the U.S. Coast Guard and spent 8 years in the U.S. Coast Guard, 13 years as a professional firefighter, EMT, before I retired. And part of that is self-mastery of self, self-mastery of your thoughts, self-mastery of your words, self-mastery of your life and your relationship, self-mastery of your career. You're in charge of what you decide. My mentors always pounded this into my head, that, all of my problems in life, including this great pandemic, anything that I have going on with my job, my day job, or anything that I have going on in my relationship, all of my problems are irrelevant. It's how you respond to the problems that really define and make a difference on your life and the choices you make. Free will and choices are our greatest power, and I always remind people of that it's our greatest power why we're here. And as we get ready to celebrate Earth Day, about sustainability, coming together, and self-mastery, Earth Day is, our goal is not just an environment of clean air, water, and scenic beauty. The objective of Earth Day is an environment of decency, quality, and mutual respect for all other human beings and all other living creatures. That's what Earth Day is really about. And I just want to remind you to have respect for yourself, respect for the planet, respect for others. The word human being, are we really being, or are we always just go, go, go? Humans are the only species that pays to live here. I've always just been fascinated with, when I started to open up into my own spiritual path, so 48 years around the sun doing this and having these soul adventures or life experiences, is we are the only species that cuts down trees and turns them into paper and then writes notes on the paper about how we're killing the planet and then distributes that paper out, those letters. So, it's always just been interesting to me about how, when it comes to sustainability and from an eco standpoint, that we don't respect our planet like we should. And now we're all being reminded of how nature can be in control. Humans think they're in control. We're really not. And I've long had respect for Mother Nature. When I first got on the U.S. Coast Guard, I spent 3 years at one of the most dangerous bar crossings in the United States and the second to none of Cape Horn in the world, down in a little little town called Owaka, Washington, also known as Cape Disappointment. And that's where I was really introduced to respecting the planet, the ocean, Mother Nature, because Mother Nature can say, I'm going to protect myself, and I'm going to release this little virus to battle another virus, us humans, because we're not self-mastery, we're not coming together, and we're not having sustainability. And so it's just interesting that we're all in this great isolation. Some people are doing great with it, some people are not. I do want to just say thank you to all of the frontline warriors, the doctors, the nurses, the EMTs, the paramedics, the police officers that are out there fighting this COVID-19. It is a true enemy, and it's just, we're going to learn more about this. So watch the data, listen to local leadership to get your information. I go to the University of Washington models here because I'm in Seattle, Washington, but I also follow the CDC, the World Health Organization. I also go to factcheck.org to see what I'm hearing has actually been fact-checked and if that's truth or misinformation. It's just, as I'm observing all this, I just see that, before, when there's great chaos, after the chaos comes this great calm. And we will get back to this great calm. I truly believe that if we follow the patterns of Mother Nature. Mother Nature can spit up a storm and a hurricane just like that within minutes. That hurricane causes destruction, chaos, cleanse everything, resets, and then it calms down. And that's where we're at. We're in this place of chaos right now. And there are a lot of people that are moving into the spirit world right now, which is very unfortunate. But at the same time, I know that this too shall pass. And I've done a couple of podcasts on that. But being in Seattle, there's a quote that's always stuck with me, and it's from a very well-known man in history, Chief Seattle, of the Seattle tribe here. And he reminds us that the earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth. And for those of you that don't believe that, well, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So from you came, so shall you return. And I think people are being reminded of that during this great global pause, this great global reset that we're talking about. But I have been talking for many months now because I heard about COVID-19 all the way back in December, right after Christmas, from somebody that had been traveling to China. So, the people that say we didn't know or we could have, we caught this in time, a lot of that's just misinformation. A lot of that's just flat out lies, guys. And, when you start to go in and listen to your intuition and awareness, something's off within the world, within your soul. And again, put your political beliefs aside and put your religious beliefs aside. Some people call this, the apocalypse, the mark of the beast. Some are saying it's the end of the world. It's not. The earth is going to survive. It might be the end of humans, but it's not the end of the planet. But what I'm saying is we have to have a respect. Just as when children are bad and parents put them in timeout to teach them a lesson, Mother Earth is doing that right now because we've long got into this play and this ego mindset that we own the earth. And the earth is very powerful, and we don't own the earth. We belong to the earth. The earth does not belong to us. And that's the quote from Chief Seattle that I just want to remind you of, for this episode. But as far as birthdays, happy birthday to all of you that celebrate birthdays in April. We always say April's the best month for birthdays because we're the diamond stone. But also, just want to say celebrate Earth Day in a new way this year that you maybe haven't with this great pandemic that we're going through. And thank essential workers out there, guys. This is also part of the lesson. We realize how important our food chain is. We realize how important our healthcare system is. We realize that there are essential workers out there right now, railroads, postal workers, UPS drivers, FedEx drivers, people that are delivering food, our grocery stores, people in the grocery stores. Make sure to have mindfulness around that because these are people that are keeping food on the shelves so you can eat. And essential workers. Now is our economy going to change? Guaranteed it's going to change. Are we looking at numbers that may rival the Great Depression? We sure are. History has taught us a lesson. But the one lesson I would remind you of as well is, this pandemic is not new. It's new to us because we haven't seen it in 100 years. But when the influenza flu in 1918 broke out, also pay attention to the data because as people go back out thinking everything's going to be okay, if anything that history has taught us is if you go back and just look at the data, you don't have to believe me, go back and look at the data and you'll realize that people did the same thing. They got, this spike, came up and, made a lot of people sick and some people, passed into spirit. And then we start to feel okay and we start to go down and we're opening up for business. Let's take everything away from social distancing to isolation. And then there's a greater spike. So I want you to pay attention to this greater spike that may happen because people, are just, wanting to have free will and choice. And we can't change that. There's a lot of things that we're not in control of. And I look at people when I see some of the talk and, it's my body and I'll do what I want. And they're right. They can. But as Darwin talked about, if you don't want to go into isolation, that's okay. Some of you will get that quote. Some of you won't. If you know who Darwin is, Charles Darwin, who talked about the, evolution, who talked about survival of the fittest, who talked about natural selection. It's just unfortunate because there's people that are passing that don't need to pass. And it's just, as a spiritualist, as an empath, as somebody that just kind of observes the world, it's very heartbreaking to watch this unfold in real time. But at the same time, I'm not in control of that. Everything that's happened out there is irrelevant. I can't change that. And I'm saying it's irrelevant because I can only be in control of what I respond to. So I would remind you of that and just, give you that reminder as well to watch what you're watching through the television. Watch what channel you are channeling into and watch what programs, what you see, because what you take in, you process, you believe, your belief systems, if you will, and then you actually start to, talk that. So watch words out there as well, because it's very, very interesting looking at the energy of words and how people are really kind of battling against each other. But there's also a great coming together. I'm seeing that on the front lines of the healthcare industry, our food chain, our supply, the essential workers that are out there risking their lives. I thank you. I see you. I commend you. I'm holding space for you that you stay safe and protected. And, this is also just a reminder to tune into what's important for you when it's your birthday. Because we all have our birthday. We take that first breath in, and that's the power of breath. And then on our death day, on our last day, whatever that day is, we take our last breath. So that's a reminder to breathe through all this. This is very, very important. It's very good at handling stress. It's very good at calming the mind down because the mind does want to make things more serious than what they need to be. And when you can work with breath and meditation and coffee, it just helps things kind of calm down. And that's where the old term comes through, cool heads prevail, because there's a lot of truth into that. So, got about 6 minutes here before we get ready for the Healing Cafe. Make sure to get on my YouTube channel because some of the stuff I'm going to be doing with Spiritual Takeout takes place on my Instagram channel and my YouTube channel. Won't take place here on Facebook. I'm going to be posting some fun a picture where you pick a bowl, and I'm going to be doing something later on YouTube this afternoon where you have a chance to win a free reading. Again, for all of you that are watching today, welcome. This is Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. I'm Marc Lainhart. Some know me as the Intuitive Prospector because I'm always searching and exploring, dreaming and discovering through body, mind, and spirit. And I always remind people, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, but also take the time to disconnect so you can have the time to reconnect. Because right now we're all taking this time to disconnect, and the caterpillar does require a season of isolation before it becomes a butterfly. And we're moving into some great times. I'm not saying that the times are not going to have trials and tribulations. They will, because I'm looking at the history, I'm looking at the data, I'm looking at the numbers, but boy, there's some great things coming as well. So I want you to stay inspired and positive and encouraged. And if you're feeling down, if you're having any kind of anxiety, or if you're having depression, I always remind people it's very important to put a label, not on people. We don't want to label people, but you want to label your emotions and acknowledge those emotions. And I just also want to remind people that I put up for the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-8255, or the suicidepreventionlifeline.org. This is a great place to go. It's free, it's confidential, it's always available. So, if you need to help a loved one, a friend, or yourself during these times, but make sure that you're, getting good rest, and you're doing something to keep the mind active, the body active. Put labels to your emotions so you can address them, because I always remind people to use what I call the FAR technique. F-A-A-R-R. Feel it. Have awareness to what you're feeling right now. Acknowledge it. It's important to acknowledge how you feel. Like if you're upset about something, then put a label. I'm upset because, or this person bothers me because, and then respond to that emotion. And remember, sometimes not responding is a response within itself, and then release it. So if you feel it, you acknowledge it, you have awareness to it, you respond to it, and you release it, the farther you can go on your path. And I call that the FAR technique. I came up with this years ago after great grieving and sadness and loss and my own near-death experience. And I just find that when you actually acknowledge your emotions and let them out and honor that, it's a good way to keep moving and stay healthy, especially during this time. And, it's important, too, to take that time to pull away from everything that's going on out here as well. So I just want to remind you of that today, because it's all about birthdays, Earth days, and sunny days. And we've got some sun here. It's been awesome here in Seattle. I love it. And I also just want to give a shout out. It's been a tough couple days. It's a reminder to me of why I do this work. And, I thank you for those that support my work and follow my work. I greatly appreciate that. I'm honored and I'm humbled. And I know there's some people that don't follow my work that actually are quite judgmental and opinionated about my work. But the reason I do this work is because it's a great reminder for me to Carpe Diem, to seize the day, because life is short. And I just want to give a shout out to a gentleman who I played basketball with in high school. His name was Jason Buterbaugh. He was our center. He was a couple years behind me. And he was a big part of my senior year of why we went 20-4, my senior year in varsity basketball in high school. He passed away a couple days ago, about a week ago. And it's a reminder for me because he's younger than me, and he actually passed from a heart attack. I don't know if it's COVID-related or non-COVID. It's indirectly related to COVID because they couldn't transport him to the hospital. But I just want to give a shout-out honoring him and remembering him for the life that he lived. And it's also an important reminder for the work that I do, and to Carpe Diem, to seize that day, because you just don't know what the day's going to bring, guys. And that's the important message of birthdays, Earth days, and sunny days is don't get caught up in the future, because we don't know what the future holds. Change your thoughts about your past, because your past and the mistakes and failures and the things you've done in your past is a life lesson. It's not a life sentence. And moving forward, find the magic in the moment, because that's where the true power lies. And Abraham Lincoln reminds us of that. The best part about the future is it comes one day at a time. So be mindful of what you're projecting out in the future, because we don't know what it holds. There are some great trials and tribulations ahead of us. There are some, storms that are going to continue to come. But, everything, there's a quote from Robert Henlon that talks about everything is theoretically impossible until it's done. And I just feel like we're in that moment where we feel like, things can't get done. But in theory, they're impossible. But once we get them done, it's kind of like science fiction turns to science fact. And that's where we're going to go. And I truly believe that. I feel that. I've seen that in my visions. And I've seen this pandemic coming for a long time. And like I said, I knew about it in December and started preparing for it. But what I want to give you before we finish up, as I get ready for the Healing Cafe, again, this will go over to my YouTube channel, and then I'll be back here on this on the Facebook page. I'm not going to be doing a lot of readings today because I'm going to get ready for my spiritual takeout. which is going to be a lot of fun. But if you share the video out, or you like the page, or you subscribe to the page, or get on my YouTube channel, you are entered into a free reading with me at the end of the month, of April. I've done the March reading for the person, and we had a great time. And it can be anywhere from psychic to mediumship to numerology to intuition to asking me Q&A. But it's a lot of fun. So make sure to subscribe or share out if you haven't done so already. So the totem animal of this week is the tortoise. And the tortoise reminds us to take our time. But also the tortoise, if the turtle or the tortoise shows up, it's a reminder to not take on too many things. If you are taking on, if you see the tortoise, it's a reminder to slow down, pause, take that breath. It could be too many projects, could be too many relationships, could be many, especially in isolation, kind of that cabin fever, kind of stir crazy going on. But it's also a reminder just to slow down, take your time, enjoy the scenery, even if there's a detour, because a lot of what we're going through right now is a big detour in this isolation. I can tell you here in Seattle, we just got notice that the West Seattle Bridge, which is one of the main connectors to West Seattle, the whole bridge has been shut down. So talk about a detour. They're talking about the bridge may not actually reopen, and that serves, a neighborhood of 80,000 people in West Seattle. So now the ingenuity and the, what is the detour, we're going to have to find a new way to cope. We're going to have to find a new way to navigate. We always keep moving forward, and that's important, is to always move forward. Your crystal for this week is actually called fishtail selenite. And fishtail selenite is kind of a clear, I don't have anything on my desk that's close to selenite, but it's the selenite is a clear, kind of a quartzy, it kind of looks like quartz. It's kind of like this, but it's called fishtail selenite. And what it's good for is it provides deep healing for the nerves. It is extremely calming, and it stabilizes emotions and diffuses tension. So the fishtail selenite came up this morning for me during meditation because I just feel like there's a lot of people out there right now that are wearing many different hats. Teachers, parents, workers, all of a sudden you're isolated and you have to do all this stuff all under one roof. And I just, thought, man, fishtail selenite might be something to really help people, to help heal the nerves. It's calming, it stabilizes emotions, and it diffuses tension. And it's some of you may know it as angel wing selenite. It kind of looks like angel wings at times because it can also facilitate, for those that follow angels and connect to angels, it can also facilitate that connection to angels. But try the fishtail selenite. And then the number for this week is 5 and 7, and I'll talk about this. This is spiritual teaching and learning, or just basic physical life teaching and learning. There's a lot that we can learn. And I put a quote earlier in the week on the Intuitive Prospector page that talked about life is going to continue to teach us. The question is your free will and your choices about wanting to learn. That's why we always say students of life, because life is always teaching us. But the 5 in this number, the 5 is being more childlike, freedom, love, and adventure, kind of releasing things that you can't control. And the 7 in numerology is about speaking truth, finding truth, hearing truth, listening to truth, connecting to truth. I would just remind you that that's a good reminder for all of us to find that truth, because there's a lot of mistruths out there. And, be informed if it feels right with you. Aristotle reminds us, those who know do, those that understand teach. I'll say that again. That's from Aristotle. Those who know do, those that understand teach. And there's a lot of stuff that I teach on because I have a lot of understanding for life and how life works, and a lot of loss, a lot of love, a lot of transformations. And I just want to, again, just remind you to Carpe Diem, to seize the day, because you don't know what the day is going to bring. And again, just giving out a shout out to my brother Jason, who's now in spirit. I hope that you're playing basketball and golfing on the other side, my friend. It was an honor to know you and to play basketball with you. And again, we went 20-4 my senior year because of good teamwork. And it's always a reminder, playing varsity sports, playing college sports, you don't win without teamwork. And that's a reminder for us in life. You don't win without teamwork. So get away from the political crap. Get away from the religious stuff. Go within and find the truth for what's right for you. And see if, where you're going to be in your birthday a year from now. What will that look like? And celebrate Earth Day, respect the planet, and just know that there are sunny days ahead. So with that, we're going to get ready for the Healing Cafe. It's been a pleasure connecting with you today. Again, stay home, stay healthy, stay informed, stay calm, stay humble, stay kind. but most importantly, stay in love during this great pandemic of the 21st century. This too shall pass. Don't get caught up in the television or any kind of programming or channeling based on what you watch. And there will always be people that will always fight against the system, and it's just interesting to watch. So I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. I'm going to get ready for the Healing Cafe, so get your questions ready. I'll be back here in about 30 seconds so I can get this transferred over to my YouTube channel. I hope that you're enjoying the day. Happy birthday to all the April babies out there. And until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and I'll see you for Metaphysical Mocha Mondays next Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can go to marclainhart.com to get to all the different links, the podcasts, the articles, upcoming shows, Instagram, YouTube, Spiritual Takeout, all that good. What I like to just say is spiritual awesomeness. So have a great rest of your day, everybody. Stay in love, stay in peace, and most importantly, namaste.